drink mix at an affordable price. Rasna Drink Mix. With over 5 delicious flavors to choose from, a 25-gram pack makes up to 1 liter of drink. There is no need to add sugar. Unlike other drink mixes, Rasna is made with all natural flavors and is low in sugar. It also contains 5 essential daily vitamins and minerals. Rasna Drink Mix is available nationwide. For more information, call us on 233-2473. Rasna, endorsed by celebrities.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Hello and welcome to your news at noon right here on Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith. The news comes to you with the compliments of Rasna Drink Mix. These are the top stories we're tracking. The fleecing of Guyana series. Kaieteur block red flags warrant investigations. More than 18 countries lost millions in revenue due to poor hydrocarbon accounting systems. Trinidad and Tobago expert urges Guyana to avoid making the same mistake. Duo accused of executing key witness in Kaieteur News grenade attacks walk free, and Region 1 once again a COVID-19 hotspot. Meanwhile, months after conclusion of case, judgment in wrongful dismissal of second NBS manager still pending. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Informed to share your views, concerns, and stay informed? Then Wake Up Guyana is for you. Join senior journalist Leonard Gildari Monday to Friday at 13 hours for Wake Up Guyana. Participate in our call-in segment to get instant feedback and solutions. Wake Up Guyana, only on Kaieteur Radio. Kaieteur Radio, the radio with a difference.
A lot has happened since oil was discovered in 2015. The petroleum industry is an ever-changing web of oil, gas, politics, and money. It gets complicated sometimes, but we can bring you all the latest developments and include you in the discussions here on Kaieteur Radio. So tune in to 99.1 or 99.5 FM every Tuesday night at 20:30 hours for Petroleum 101 with me, your host, Kamal King. Kaieteur Radio, the radio with a difference.
Welcome back. Let's get to the front page comment of today's Kaieteur news, before we get to the news in detail. Jagdio's silence. 3 things are obvious when we think of promises given by Guyana's Vice President, Bart Jagdio. These 3 things do not speak well of him, either as a leader or a citizen vowing to deliver on promises made. When Mr. Jagdio was president, he stated that if he personally had to lead the charge to restart the Skeldon sugar factory, then he would. When reminded later of that commitment, Mr. Jagdio said he couldn't recall. And now that the PPP is back, the Skeldon sugar factory is being readied to resume operations. As leader of the opposition, Mr. Jagdio said he supported an independent international investigation into the award of the contracts for the Kanji and Kaieteur blocks. He swore that those found guilty of wrongdoing would be jailed. He was all for that then, but today when Mr. Jagdio is reminded of where he once stood so loudly and firmly, he is strangely silent. The 3 lessons Guyanese should learn are these. Firstly, when leaders give their sacred word, they sometimes develop convenient and selective amnesia. Mr. Jagdio did that before with Skeldon. Secondly, when they determine that there should be honoring of promises, they move with haste. Again, Skeldon stands as evidence of this. Thirdly, when leaders swear to do something, only to discover that it can be politically embarrassing, they pretend or feign memory loss and do absolutely nothing. This is what Mr. Jagdeo has done with the Kanji and Kaieteur oil blocks. He is silent. He is distant from his prior promise. He feigns ignorance because of the many illegalities which were committed. We remind the Vice President, honorable men, honor their word. Your word is your bond. It must not be broken ever. And now for the news in detail, the circumstances surrounding the Kaieteur oil block award made by former President Donald Ramotar and the subsequent farm-ins have demonstrated several red flags that warrant a thorough independent investigation. The Kaieteur block is currently estimated to hold 2.1 billion oil equivalent barrels. It was awarded April 28, 2015, just 2 weeks before the 2015 general and regional elections by Donald Ramotar, on the advice of the former Minister of Natural Resources, Robert Prasad. Two companies received the block with 50-50 stakes: Ratio Energy Limited, now Kaieteur Energy Limited, and Ratio Guyana Limited. Ratio Energy's name was changed on August 3, 2017, after it received the Kaieteur block. Its two directors are Canadian Michael Kaywood and Guyanese Ryan Pereira, who have experience in mining. Notably, anti-corruption watchdog Global Witness reported that Pereira, who is a director of Kaieteur, represented Ratio Energy in April 2015, when it received its stake in the block. This means Pereira was involved in both companies which received rights to the Kaieteur block at the time of receipt. In other news, now that Guyana is more than 9 months into facilitating lifts of its light sweet crude being produced in the Liza Phase 1 field, industry experts are of the firm view that the nation's leaders ought to have in place effective hydrocarbon accounting systems. Specifically holding this viewpoint is petroleum consultant Randall Mohammed. Mohammed explained that the hydrocarbon accounting systems are used by petroleum nations across the world to ensure they are able to track gas and oil ownership from the point of production to the point of sale. If these systems are not effective, Mohammed said there can be errors and delays in hydrocarbon accounting, which can result in a significant financial loss for the state. Taking this into consideration, Mohammed said it is essential that the Guyanese authorities make every effort to ensure that not only hydrocarbon computer systems that execute such accounting rules are correctly programmed, but that measurements are accurate and that reporting is timely. And moving on, 2 men accused of gunning down a man in front of his 5-year-old daughter and his wife on the East Bank Public Road at Eccles in the middle of the busy traffic early last year have walked. Principal Magistrate Sherdal Isaacs Marcus on Friday discharged the capital offense of murder against 31-year-old Devon Allen and 29-year-old Roderick Thomas. They were on remand for the murder of taxi driver Kelvin Walters, who was executed on January 22nd, 2019 at Eccles Public Road, East Bank Demerara. When the matter was called for ruling in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts, Magistrate Marcus upheld a no-case submission that was presented to the court by the accused attorneys, stating that there is not sufficient evidence against their clients. Let's tell you now that Region 1, or Burri-Mawini, has once again become a COVID-19 hotspot, causing the Ministry of Health to ramp up their measures to tackle and manage its spread. A senior official of the ministry said that over the past month, an alarming surge in COVID-19 cases was observed in the region, which was followed with the Health Ministry sending a personnel to conduct testing and isolation. Also, in their plan to properly detect and manage the virus will be the use of antigen tests. The Health Minister, Dr. Frank Anthony, recently announced that the government has ordered 20,000 antigen tests. The official further disclosed that the influx of cases came as a result of persons not adhering to the mandated COVID-19 regulations. Region 1 currently has the second highest number of cases in the country, with 663 confirmed cases in the past month. It has recorded multiple COVID-19 deaths and over 200 new cases. Let's tell you now that the ruling in the second case filed against NBS over the wrongful dismissal of former manager Kent Vincent is still pending, several months after a trial in the Georgetown High Court concluded. Vincent had filed a lawsuit claiming over $500 million worth in damages from the institution after he was dismissed and charged along with two other managers for conspiracy to defraud the NBS of $69 million back in 2007. NBS is a mortgage financing entity. Vincent has since moved on and is the chief of Food for the Poor Guyana, a non-profit organization. The sum was allegedly withdrawn from an account belonging to a customer, BB Can, using unverified bogus documents. You are tuned into Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM, and this is your news at noon. We will continue with the news after the break.
Fountain of knowledge to help children with their schoolwork while they're at home. But you do have to be caring, understanding, loving, and patient. It's an unsettling time for everyone, but children still need a safe and secure environment. So don't overwhelm them with endless news items or problems. Keep them gainfully occupied and amused, exercised and rested. Protect our children.
A message from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, and UNICEF.
The government of Guyana has begun the rollout of the COVID-19 $25,000 household cash grant. Citizens are being advised that there is no pre-registration requirement. Clearly identified distribution clerks under the supervision of the Ministry of Finance will visit the respective households to verify credentials. Following this exercise, distribution will be done on a house-to-house basis. In cases where there are multiple households in one home, only the principal householder will receive the cash grant in the first instance. However, the other householders will be required to provide their information on a pink form, and following verification, they will receive the cash grant. The $25,000 household cash grant is in keeping with the government's promise to provide economic relief during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. NISL, Gaisuco, and GLSC are working with the Central Housing and Planning Authority to help the department identify lands for new housing projects. Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell said that the collaboration is part of the government's push to find new lands to allocate the thousands of Guyanese who have applied for house lots. According to Minister Crowell, several areas have already been identified for land acquisition in some regions, with funds available for the last month's emergency budget. Crowell reminded that despite a system backlog, the government is working every single day to ensure that the necessary infrastructure is in place to commence new allocations for a number of regions. The government has said that over 60,000 applications for house and lands are on file. During a recent meeting with several senior managers from the Albion Rose Hall and Skeldon Estates, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa once again affirmed the government's position to restructure the management style of Gaisuco. Minister Mustafa said that the top-heavy attitudes of managers when dealing with lower-level staff must be corrected. Minister Mustafa went on to say that if managers do not change their attitudes, Gaisuco will be left with no other alternative but to part company with them. Gaisuco CEO Sesanoran Singh said that the corporation also plans to conduct a review of management at the end of the second crop. Let's tell you now that the Ministry of Education announced yesterday that it will be hosting an online meeting with parents and teachers of Georgetown and Region 3 for students writing CSEC and CAPE examinations in 2021. The meeting will be held via Zoom application. For the Georgetown parents' guardians, it was stated that their meetings will be held at 2 p.m. today, while the Region 3 parents will have their meeting at 6 p.m. Further, the Georgetown and Region 3 CSEC CAPE teachers will be having their meeting at 10 a.m. today, where they will be engaged with the senior education officers. Back to Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa. He told cane farmers at Skeldon, currently in Region 6, that Gaisuco management will be revamped and be more responsive to them. The minister made these statements at a meeting at the Skeldon Training Center in East Berbice on Saturday. Senior officials in the industry also attended the meeting. The minister said he held discussions with CEO Sesanoran Singh and has given the board a guideline on how it must work. He said that he would ensure the management is responsive in the needs of the corporation and can deliver. He also revealed he has a list of issues that are plaguing the existing factories. The transferal of Kaieteur's assets to NISIL under the APNU AFC government is one of them. The minister stated that the assets would be returned to Kaieteur. Let's tell you now that Public Works Minister Bishop Juan Edgel has said that the government will only give its approval for high-quality works from the ongoing Sheriff Mandela Road expansion project. While he is satisfied with some of the outcomes to date, Minister Edgel maintained that the process needs to be accelerated since it is way behind schedule, according to a release from the government. The minister highlighted concerns about the delays and inconveniences residents and businesses are faced with due to the unfinished work. The project is valued at over $30 million and was awarded to China's Sinohydro Corporation Limited. It is now 12 hours 18. Coming up next is your COVID-19 update, followed by the page 7 blunt comment of the Kaieteur News. Now for your COVID-19 update, the number of worldwide coronavirus cases, according to Worldometer, has reached 43,475,219, with deaths at 1,160,749, with recovery cases at 31,969,636. The Ministry of Health has recorded yet another 29 new COVID-19 cases, bringing the overall confirmed to 4,023. According to the daily COVID-19 dashboard, of the new cases, Region 2 has 3, Region 4, 17, Region 7, 2, and Region 8, 3, while Regions 1 and 10 have 1 each. Additionally, the ministry noted that there are 15 persons in the ICU. In total, 119 persons have died. Coming from CNN, White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said Sunday that the U.S. is not going to control the pandemic. Instead, he said the administration would focus on vaccines and treatments. The U.S. average of the new daily infections is now at its highest point of the pandemic, with 481,372 cases reported a week. A mass testing program of more than 4.7 million people in China's Xinjiang province identified nearly 140 asymptomatic cases over the weekend. And now for the page 7 of the Kaieteur News that is dedicated to being blunt. What is wrong with the media in Guyana, including those on social media? Why are they ignoring the stealing of the country's oil wealth? The theft of our oil wealth is a matter of public concern. The failure of many of our media houses to highlight the loss of these resources amounts to a dereliction of media responsibility. We challenge the other media houses, including those who utilize social media, to join us in exposing this Ponzi scheme which is taking place with the country's wealth. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I am Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening. Coming up next is the National Outlook with GHK Lal.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
The government of Guyana has begun the rollout of the COVID-19 $25,000 household cash grant. Citizens are being advised that there is no pre-registration requirement. Clearly